Wait, we need to pause right here. This is the most ridiculous comment section I've seen. You know, I've always had a soft spot for Timothee. I'm not saying I'm gay, but let's just go to the video. A single comment.
And I don't want to be working in ballet or opera.
That's all it took for the internet to explode and for a great actor to lose an Oscar's leadership. Timothée Chalamet is definitely among the great actors of our generation. And now, he's suddenly trending everywhere after a comment about opera and ballet during a conversation with Matthew McConaughey. Within hours, headlines framed it as disrespectful, opera fans were furious, and social media basically acted like Chalamet declared war on classical arts. But here is the weird part. When you actually look at the full interview, the backlash feels a little strange. Because the thing he said might not mean what everyone thinks it means. And I swear to God, my biggest concern right now is not how Timothée Chalamet is reacting to it, or how bad he must have felt. Why? Because this is literally him after the comment. This man doesn't even care about it. But the real concern should be how internet outrage works in 2026. So to give you the big picture, it all started during a conversation with Matthew McConaughey. Chalamet was discussing something actors talk about constantly. Relevance. You see, Hollywood today isn't the same Hollywood that existed 20 years ago. Movies compete with TikTok, streaming platforms, gaming and social media. What does all this have in common? It's a short, rotten attention span. And while explaining his philosophy about the kind of projects he wants to work on, Chalamet made a comment that basically suggested he doesn't want to pursue artistic fields where the audience has dramatically shrunk, specifically mentioning opera and ballet. The phrasing was blunt, something along the lines of not wanting to be in spaces where people are trying to keep something alive that audiences aren't showing up for anymore. To many people, it sounded like he was saying opera and ballet are irrelevant. But the story gets more interesting when you look at the context. Here is the key thing. Chalamet wasn't giving a lecture about the value of an art. He was talking about his career choices. Actors constantly think about where they want their works to exist. To make it even simpler, do you want to work in a niche art community with a very little audience, or do you want to create projects that reach massive audiences? Chalamet's entire career suggests that he values connection with larger audiences. From indie films to huge cultural moments like Dune, his trajectory has always been about balancing artistic credibility with cultural impact. So the charitable interpretation of this comment is actually pretty simple. He wasn't saying opera and ballet are worthless, but he was saying he personally doesn't see himself working in artistic spaces that currently have smaller audiences. And statistically, he's not entirely wrong about the difference in scale. The reason I'm mentioning this is because I noticed a ridiculous amount of people commenting ballet tickets are outshining and outselling cinema tickets. A major Hollywood blockbuster can sell tens of millions of tickets worldwide. Meanwhile, even the biggest opera companies are often filling out around 70% of their seats. And a large amount of opera companies raised concerns about low audience numbers over the years. And that very same audience leans toward the elder generation. Yes, you heard it right. The elderly. That doesn't make opera less meaningful or irrelevant. What's interesting is that Chalamet actually noticed the potential backlash almost immediately. Right after making the remark, he quickly added a line showing respect for those art forms and joked that he probably lost some viewers by saying it. That moment matters. Yes, it really matters. Why? Because it shows that he was not trying to start a cultural war. From his reaction, you could easily tell he realized mid-sentence that the comment could easily be misinterpreted, and that's where the real problem happened, because the internet rarely analyzes the entire context. It only analyzes the most controversial clip. The worst part about this backlash is almost all the people who threw shades at Timothée has never been to opera house, or have no idea what a performance would look like, let alone understand the culture better than a man whose family life is completely involved around it. And guess who made an irrational and clumsy comment about it? Doja Cat. In the video, Doja Cat defended opera and ballet, saying those art forms deserve respect and shouldn't be casually dismissed. Her tone was direct, and like a lot of people online at the moment, she clearly felt the comment came off as an arrogant. The clip spread fast, but then something unexpected happened. A little while later, the video disappeared. Guess what? Doja Cat deleted it. And when she came back online, her tone had completely changed. She admitted that she might have reacted too quickly, and even acknowledged something surprisingly honest. She had never actually attended an opera or ballet performance herself. That moment turned the entire situation into something a lot more Because suddenly the conversation wasn't just about Chalamet's comment anymore. It was about how quickly people react on the internet. Doja Cat essentially became the perfect example of the phenomenon we see all the time online. Reaction first, then thinking later. And she earned my respect. Instead of doubling down, she stepped back and admitted that maybe she jumped into the debate without fully understanding the context. Her reaction didn't just add another celebrity opinion to the debate, it exposed how internet outrage works. And now let's see how the internet reacted to his comment. Within hours, social media started framing the story in a very specific way. Timothée Chalamet disrespected opera and ballet. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion. And then there was the strangest reaction of all. People suddenly acted like they've been a lifelong opera defender. Which is funny because if you look at the attendance statistics, opera houses across the world have spent years trying to attract younger audience. You know what? The entirety of the opera community should thank him. Why? Because after his comment, everybody is talking about opera and ballet. Like literally everybody. Sometimes outrage online is genuine, sometimes it's performative, and this situation feels like a bit of both. Another theory started circulating online almost immediately. Some people started blaming Chalamet's relationship with Kylie Jenner, suggesting that his proximity to Kardashian Jenner universe somehow changed him. The logic goes like this. Before the relationship, Chalamet had this quiet, intellectual indie film reputation. But now after his relationship with Kylie Jenner, he became a Hollywood celebrity rather than an artist. But this explanation falls apart when you look at his history. First, he made it clear that he wants to be an international Hollywood celebrity. Secondly, he's constantly shared his opinion about ballet and opera, meaning this is not his first time talking about ballet and opera. So blaming the Kardashians' influence might just be a little blunt. Why ain't you guys subscribing? So please guys subscribe. Another important detail. There is also an ironic twist many people missed. Chalamet actually comes from a background closely connected to the performing arts. His family has a strong tie with dancing and theater, so it would be pretty strange for him to genuinely believe those art forms have no value. Why? Because he probably seen the efforts they put, the pain they go through, the time and energy they invest to put up a good show and performance, which again points to the likelihood that the comment was about audience size, not artistic importance. And those are two completely different things. Could this affect awards or Oscars? Now here's the part people are speculating about. Could this controversy hurt Chalamet during awards season? In Hollywood, reputation matters. Actors campaigning for awards like the Academy Awards often try to avoid controversy. But realistically, controversies like this rarely affect voting unless they involve something far more serious. Most award voters care about the performance, the feel, the industry relationships. Comment about opera probably isn't going to derail someone's career. If anything, it will likely disappear from the news cycle within a week. Internet storms tend to burn fast. So one more final question. Was he wrong? His point about audience scale isn't entirely wrong, but the way he phrased it was definitely clumsy.